Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Taurus in June 2020. What's going on, Taurus? How are you guys doing? I hope that you are doing well. All right, friends, half of the year is done. How you feeling about it? Hopefully you're feeling good about it. I'm feeling pretty good about it, despite, that daggone pandemic. It's been okay for me. I wish things weren't the way they are, but could be worse, right? Could be worse. On a personal level, it could be much, much worse. So I'm trying to remain positive and not dwell on anything that's too negative. Okay. Anyway, hopefully you guys are doing well. It's still a pandemic outside, guys, so please exercise caution. Be very sensible about whatever you're doing. Let's all, keep our heads in the game, so to speak. Okay. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Now, Taurus. Welcome to June. Any announcements? Let's see. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to do a surprise live here in the month of June. I work a full-time job. I do this. I do private readings with clients. I like to be social. I like to relax. I like to enjoy a meal every once in a while. So I'm finding it a little bit hard to get that in the schedule that I have right now. But please have faith in me because I'm gonna do it. I promise I'm gonna do it, okay? So be on the lookout for that. And if you are subscribed, that's great. If you are not, you might consider doing so that you can see the notification pop up of when I go live on the channel. If you want to stop in and say hi and possibly get a question answered through the tarot, okay? Other than that, let's go ahead and get on with the regular speech. Taurus, I've shuffled off camera. That is your main spread there. I'm going to shuffle on camera now for your outcome and your overall energy. Once all the cards are out and they're lying face up on the table, that's when the reading begins. Timestamp is already in the description box if you want to jump ahead. Also down there is all the information that you need if you want to get a personal reading with me. If you have a question before you place an order, you go ahead and email me at the same address. I'll answer you as soon as I can. And if you missed it at the top, your girl is on Instagram. There's a link for that in the description. The name is EmpathicFire. You'll see it there on screen once again. Or excuse me, EmpathicFire Tarot. You'll see it there on screen. If you want to follow me there, I do oracle interpretations every other day, something like that. Whenever I have the time. I try to get something up there. Eventually, it's starting to come together in my mind. I'm starting to be able to see what it would look like to do pick-a-card stuff. So there's a lot going on over there in terms of what to expect. Some things are changing over here on YouTube. So your girl's trying to diversify and do different things. So hang with me, kids. I would appreciate it. Okay? All right, let's get into it. I want to see the outcome for Taurus in June 2020. Please show me Taurus's outcome in June 2020. Please show me. Oh, okay. I'll take it. Bottom of the deck is the overall energy. Yoink, like that. And let's flip everything that came face down so we can get into it. Okay. Oh, and the outcome as well. Duh. All right. Oh, you're not sliding very well. That one card, it doesn't want to slide. The edge might be a little bent. All right. I think that looks good. How are we looking? Perfecto. All right, guys, let's get into it. Please show me where Taurus is in June 2020. Please show me Taurus in June 2020. Please show me. Wow, that was pretty quick too. I like that. I like that. That was good. I just did Aries and theirs was like pretty quick and yours was quick too. So here we go. Taurus, coming into June, you come in with the energy of the Wheel of Fortune. Major Arcana for Sagittarius. Also associated with the fixed signs. So that would be you, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius as well. You could be dealing with any of those signs or none at all. Please take your pick. It is a general, so take it all with a grain of salt. But I get this sense like things are changing for you. Yeah, there's something very changeable or a lot of movement with the Wheel of Fortune because it is like this object or it is this concept of being in motion or perpetually in motion or things coming around at the opportune time. So in some of your cases, you might be literally moving. If you're not literally moving, like your home, you might be changing jobs. You might be ending certain patterns in your life or certain cycles in your life. There's something about change, change, change. And maybe you are lusting, interesting word, lusting for change, thirsty for change, hungry for change. Okay, so highly desiring things to be different. And hopefully in many of your cases, although it cannot be a guarantee, but hopefully in many of your cases, things are going to go in your favor, right? When we see the Wheel of Fortune, we're thinking, something's got to give, like something's got to break my way. And so some of you have been really fixated on that for a long time, it feels like. Because look at like the netting or the vines or whatever this is in the center of this card, right? Look at how like interwoven and like confusing and jumbled it is, right? Like you can't string all that stuff up there, presumably, in 5 minutes, right? So it takes a while to accumulate all of that mess or all of that. The word they want me to use is confuddled. There's something about things have been tense or things have been constricted. Thank you. Things have been constricted for some of you. And with the Wheel of Fortune and the archetype or the energy of Sagittarius, there's something here about desiring freedom, desiring more room to roam, more room to explore, more room to express yourself, to do more than what you've done before, right? Wheel of Fortune is about expansion, growth, coming, moving from a small pond life to like a big old lake, going from the lake to the ocean. Now, again, in terms of ecosystems, I'm sure that doesn't fly with most marine animals or amphibious animals, but that's the idea. If you've been living in or in conditions that have felt like a small, teeny tiny pond or like a creek, you're like, I want a goddamn river. I want a big, expansive river. I want a roaring, ocean. I want something more than what I have now, right? And again, some of you are coming from a place where you were confused, constricted, things were confuddled, or another nonsense word almost is discombobulated, right? So I get the sense of things have been in an uproar, not recently, because this is a major arcana. I don't think this happened yesterday. This is stuff from like months or years ago, right? And now you're like cleaning up. I get the sense of like cleaning up the pieces, sweeping debris into a dustpan, cleaning it. Like, okay, oh right, that would make sense. Like if you're moving, right, moving out of your apartment, your home, whatever, sometimes you got to do that, right? The landlord wants the place spick and span because you're leaving after you've lived there for 4 years, whatever it is. Clean up the place. Okay, bust out the dustpan, bust out the broom and the mop, clean it up, leave it nice and neat, and move into your house. Like some of you are literally like moving from a really teeny tiny place to a larger place. I really get that sense of like a small pond going to a lake going to a river going to an ocean. Like whatever you're doing, it feels like an upgrade. Okay, maybe not upgrade. So they're like, take that back. Because I don't want it to seem like upgrade for the sense of materialism. That's not the reason you're doing this. The reason that you would literally be moving, or the reason that you're interested in this feeling, or this is where we're starting, is because where you were before, it was so stifling. You were like, some of you were living in a situation, or you were at a job, or you were dealing with people that were just like drains on your fucking energy. Like it was so, dare I say, because I don't usually like to use this word on my channel because I think it's a little overplayed sometimes, toxic, but literally some of you are like in toxic situations. Yeah. And it's like like I'm grimacing over here. If you can hear it's like a sour, I don't have a sour taste, but it's like that. It's like you're so displeased with it. And you, thank you. Okay, thank you. Because again, what I said about this card, the fixed signs are also associated with it. If you don't know anything about yourself, Taurus, you are a fixed sign like Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, okay? Fixed signs, if you can judge by the name, tend to stick with what they have, okay? Possibly to their own detriment. And that's kind of what this feels like. It kind of feels like where you were before, you knew it was no good. You knew that job was tiring you out. You knew that relationship wasn't giving you what you wanted. You knew the arguments going back and forth between you and your relatives was just like exhausting. Every time you go over to your mother's house or every time she comes and visits you, it's one thing after the other, blah, 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 blah. And it was just exhausting for you. And now that you're moving out, some of you, you're moving out of your parents' home or moving out from relatives or roommates, whatever, because it was so exhausting to deal with that person. You're leaving a job because it was so exhausting being micromanaged the way that you were, whatever. It's like now you can breathe freely. But what went into this moment of relief? My God, months and years of putting up with bullshit. Like I said about these ropes or these vines or whatever the hell it is. Look at that. You don't build up this construction. Like if this was an art installation, even though it looks like a bunch of haphazard crap, right? Like if you know anything about art, for the most part, things that look really confusing and like, again, it was like just thrown about. No, it's actually meticulously put together. Meaning someone was dedicated, fixed sign energy, dedicated to the task of constructing this, right? If it was an art piece, what we're looking at on the card, right? Or even the literal illustration of this card. This wasn't made in a day. The artist of this deck probably revisited this particular art several times before it was completed. So you kept giving into a situation, kept being present in a situation for a long time to the point where it became too much to bear. So now we leave it, right? So what else happens? Because I think we get the point there. So what else happens for Taurus? Please show me. Yes, get on with it. Go ahead. Do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it. So here you go. Here you go. Being a boss about shit. Perfect. Mother of Wands right above that position, aka Queen of Wands, right? Fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. You could be dealing with a fire sign, but you don't have to be. So here's this can-do attitude. Here's this, well, now that I'm fed up. See, I was just mentioning this a little bit to Aries in their reading. When any fire sign, you know, and it's not exclusive to fire signs, but it's pretty much a high occurrence. When you have fire sign energy, and this could be you, Taurus, because I really think it is you. Once a fire sign is done with something and they're like, well, I've done everything I could do here. There's like an immediate shift to the next thing, to the next goal, to the next project, to the next person in some cases, okay? That's kind of what I'm getting here. Now that this situation, whatever it was before, a job, a living situation, a romantic connection, a friendship, whatever it is, now that it's proven to be done and dusted, you've learned or experienced everything that you could there, right? Because again, with the Wheel of Fortune, it's not known to be about lessons, but that aspect of Sagittarius being the 9th house, Sagittarius rules the 9th house, it's about higher learning. It's about spiritual, and I don't want to say enlightenment, but spiritual endeavors or philosophical endeavors, right? So you may have had an incredibly toxic home life. You could be, in your early to mid 20s or something like that. And you've been on and off living in your parents' house, for the past 5 years, something like that. You've had enough. The lesson has been learned. And so now with a impassioned dedication to something new, you're ready to go. Mother of Wands, Queen of Wands energy is not stagnant. I don't think it can be stubborn. It can be kind of dismissive or short-tempered. So in that way, it might seem a little immovable. However, in combination with what I'm feeling and what we were just talking about with the Wheel of Fortune for you, Taurus, this is like determined to just get on with it. Like you're rushing out the door. If you're cleaning up your apartment before you leave and turn your keys back over to your landlord, you're cleaning that shit up like you're Speedy Gonzalez or something. There is this rush or this imperative to make a fresh new start for yourself, to get on with the business of getting on with it. You're determined. It's wonderful. Energetically, I love this. I love energy like this. Okay? And it comes after some great realization for you, some wake-up call, some epiphany. In some of your cases, it might come after, or it might have come, because I think you're already doing this. I feel I'm confirming what you're experiencing. Some of you, this is still upcoming, but for most of you, you're like, okay, I already did that stuff, Jay. What else is happening? So I feel as though most of you have gone down this road already. And your epiphany, your wake-up call could have come for a few of you in a destructive way or a combative way. Because look at this snake on this card, how she's encircled around those eggs. Some of you have children. Okay, got it. Protective energy, fiercely protective. So some of you, your motivation, or if you do have children, they are possibly the motivation and the Kickstarter of this move, of this change, whatever you're doing, right? For some of you, if you're like leaving a job, the job was calling you away from your aspects of being a parent. And I'm saying mother. If you're a male and you take care of your kids, it's the same thing, okay? So your role of being a parent is both, like, your kids are both the reason that you're protective as well as like fiercely fighting for something. It's very interesting. I mean, think about it. Like, this snake is coiled up around these eggs, incubating them, right? Keeping them safe, keeping them warm, helping them gestate. But if at any moment this snake needs to defend those eggs from a predator, I'm assuming it'd be ready to strike. So it's like, I hope you get what I'm saying. There's like two things going on at once with that energy. If you don't have children, it still applies. You could be protecting your finances. You could be protecting yourself. If you've lived in a situation, or you've lived in a job where it was physically taxing on you, you were not, given that we're in the middle of a pandemic, you could have been working a job out there in the front lines or out there in the public, and your employer wasn't hitting you up with that PPE, and you're like, listen, Bob, where's that PPE, bud? And he's like, we ain't got it. And you're like, I need a new job because I take my health seriously. Or maybe you're immunocompromised. Maybe you're more susceptible, right? So there's something about both a defensive posture and an offensive posture that this Mother of Wands is taking. And I like it for you, Taurus. I really do. Go ahead and be about that business. I like that. Now, what else happens? Yeah, none of that. Yep, you were in some shit that you... Yes. Ooh, and dealing with a rat. Go ahead. Like this deck. Four of Cups. So here's possibly another factor in the motivator. Four of Cups. When we talk about Four of Cups in tarot in general, we're talking about situations that are no longer satisfying, or offers that come to us that are just like uninspiring, right? There's that cliche of life hands you lemons and you make lemonade. You're like looking at those lemons like, I don't want them fucking lemons. And it's not to say you're being indignant or that you're being spoiled. I don't think it's that. I think it was literally you're working with or dealing with people or energies or circumstances that were invasion is the word I'm getting. Because look at that rodent, mouse or rat or both. Though when we think of those creatures, aside from like when you see them in the pet store, if you see one and you didn't buy it, you didn't welcome it into your home and put it in a little cage with a little wheel, you're kind of like, and you're like offended, or you're scared, or you're disgusted, right? Infestations of rats, infestations of mice, right? So I get the sense, Taurus, that something in your life felt like an infestation. If you literally are moving, you may be moving because of infestation. You're telling the landlord, I think we got rats in this building. And your landlord's like, I don't know about that. And you're like, I saw it. It was in my cabinet and I wanted to die. Get an exterminator in here and, whatever happened. And you were dealing with it. And maybe you had to. Maybe you couldn't afford to live anywhere else. Maybe you were out of a job at the time or whatever it is, in between jobs, whatever. So for a while you had to live in circumstances emotionally, especially emotionally, since this is Four of Cups, where you were dissatisfied, possibly invaded upon. Got it. For some of you, this is about an invasion into your private space. Again, if you've been sharing a home with your parents or other relatives, you know, some households are like that. You live under my house, you live under my rules, and you're like, but I'm 36. And your parents are like, what did we say? And you're like, but I'm 36. And your parents are like, you're not going to disrespect this house. But I'm 36, baby. You need to be in the house by 12 a.m. I'm 36. You see? So it's like this thing of, I can't expand here. This is a pond. I need a lake or a river or an ocean. I'm a goddamn adult. I appreciate your mom and dad for putting up with me or giving me a place to stay, but this is not working for me, right? So that's what the Four of Cups is saying. Emotionally, it wasn't working for you. You were living in rat-infested homes or apartments or whatever. You were living with people who were in your business, even though you're an adult, even though you're trying to respect them, they're not respecting you, right? Like unnecessary shit I'm getting with this Four of Cups. Unnecessary. It's unnecessary to live with rats. Like, no offense to any animal activists who might be watching, but literally, we have exterminators for that. We have trappings for that. There's no reason that your landlord couldn't have taken care of whatever you were living in, right? But for some reason, they were resistant to it. Going back to the workforce. I need that PPE, Bob. Nah. You know, like, I'm getting like this cavalier attitude from whoever you were dealing with. My house, my rules. My business, my rules. My business, my budget. And it's just like, but I'm here risking my life and my health to take care of your business, to help you run your business. You could at least give me a fucking mask. Nah, you gotta buy it on your own. What? So there's like this, no. There's like a no here. In general, Four of Cups usually speaks to a no. Something is no longer suitable. Something is offered to you and it's not enough. And so you are within your rights, it feels, Taurus, because you've put in the time. The other aspect of the Wheel of Fortune, time. You've put it in. Months and years of your life dealing with this person, dealing with these circumstances, dealing with this environment. Enough's enough. Yes. Enough is enough. I love it. Now, why do I say that? Why am I loving it? Right? Yeah, buddy. You out. You out, baby. The Fool, secondary major arcana for Aquarius. Some of you could be dealing with an Aquarius, but you don't have to be. Here we go. Fresh new beginnings, fresh new starts, brand new paths in your life. Some of you might be labeled a fool by doing this. Some of you, like, look at this bird. It doesn't look very developed. It looks like a immature, I don't know what you would call, you know, a young bird, but like a hatchling. I guess it's bigger than a hatchling. But anyway, look at that thing. Does it look like it's ready to fly? Those wings look mighty tiny, yeah? And it's perched on this branch. It could fall. It could fall and hurt itself or, God forbid, die, right? Presumably, if this branch was high up in a tree or something, right? So, as the onlooker, you and I, we could label this bird a fool. Get down out of that tree, bird. You're not ready to fly. Bullshit. You know? And I'm not saying literally like a tiny baby bird is going to fly out of a tree. It might. But what I'm saying in terms of tarot, the Fool doesn't perceive its situations to be so dire. Doesn't perceive its situation to be insurmountable, right? The Fool embraces the impossible. The Fool, backed up by Aquarian energy, backed up by Uranus energy, okay? Revolutionary, radical, right? Innovative. Like total off the cuff, out of the box type of vibe. So you're doing something that's possibly unheard of. You're doing things in a way, Taurus, that people are looking at you and they cock their head to the side and they're like, huh? What are you doing now? And you're like, yeah, I'm doing this. I'm moving out. I'm moving on. I'm changing jobs. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Right? Again, you want to have a bigger landscape. Tired of the tiny little pond, put me in the damn ocean, baby. Right? And people are like, Taurus, you're crazy. And you're kind of like, are you serious? Or you don't even know the half of why I'm doing this. Or you don't understand where I've been. Where I've been was entangled in some madness. Where I've been was living in a house or in an apartment that had a rodent infestation. I've been dealing with people or energies or circumstances that were unsavory, that were unpleasant, that didn't offer me the opportunities that I fucking deserve, that I desire. Call me a fool if you want, but I know what I'm doing. Call me a fool if you want, I'm going to show you. Call me a fool if you want, and you'll be, some of you are like, you'll be exempt from my life. Okay, I get the sense that Taurus, you're giving people a little bit of the horns, and I'm here for it. I think energetically, from what I'm recalling for most of 2020 thus far, Taurus, you've been kind of on your peaceful vibe. You know, that's the dichotomy of Taurus. You can be very calm and very serene and very gentle, right? But you're a, you know, your icon is a beastly, muscular, powerful animal that can skewer, that can maim, that can kill, right? I'm a Leo, so I get it, okay? There's this other side of you that becomes really piercing. And people don't really see that side of you. And when you're in that vibe, I get it. Because again, fixed sign energy, again, Leo here, you've put up with so much already. It's kind of like, I'm warranted. I'm allowed. I am compelled to do something completely different, radically different, full energy. Again, backed up by Aquarius and Uranus. That could also be what's, you know, puzzling people. They've never seen this side of you before. You've always been so methodical and measured and careful, and you might be taking a little bit of a risk. Again, that Fool energy, baby bird with the little tiny wings up on the branch, that's a risk. What are you doing up there? You could fall and hurt yourself. So you might have people saying that to you. Taurus, are you sure? You could hurt yourself if you do this. You could lose something if you do this. You're taking such a risk. And you're like, get out of my way. Don't come here with that mess. Don't come here with that doubt. Don't come here with that, like, I appreciate your concern, but that's all, that's enough. I don't want to hear it again. Because where I was before, you don't even know. And that's the thing. I'm like, you know, I think I'm like taking stabs at everything that you guys have been through. I don't know the detail as your reader, right? It's a general, so there's that other aspect. I get a general vibe, but the specifics of what you've dealt with, you guys know intimately, in detail, how unsavory and unpleasant and just totally effed up what you were dealing with was. How it made you feel small, how it minimized you. Got it. How it tried to snuff your light out. The situation, the person, the whatever. Your light was dimmed almost to the point of being completely snuffed out. And why did I just get all excited, put my crystal down and clap my hands? Why did I do that? Because of the Hermit. What's on that turtle's back? Nice little lantern with a little fire in it. And that's one of those lanterns where the dial, the twisting of the dial, a simple motion of twisting your wrist can turn that light completely out. Like, it's so easy for this light to have been dimmed, but it's not. Okay? So your perseverance, your pushing through, your making new radical changes and being fired up and protective, and you know what you need to do, and not wavering from your own certainty. Wonderful. It comes from this place of having reflected. The Hermit, major arcana for Virgo. You could be dealing with a Virgo, but you don't have to be. So, I feel this is you too. I'm like, it can be other people, but this is primarily you. You've been on some type of spiritual uptick, some type of evolution of self-reflection, considering things in a way that you've never considered them before. And look what is the archetype, or look at the artwork that represents the hermit. A turtle. Not even a turtle that's out of its shell, a turtle that's retracted into its shell. So you've been in your shell, Taurus, for whatever reason, to protect yourself, because you were insecure, because you were needing time out, whatever your reasoning, you were a turtle inside its shell, doing this spiritual uptick, doing that spiritual work to get yourself back out into the world. This is where you were. Some of you might still be here, so perfect. But, the hermit invites you to consider what to do differently going forward. It's a slow process, okay? Again, with the imagery of the turtle. And it might be coming late in life for some of you, or you might have this perception, right? Because going back to that whole, I'm 36 and you live with your parents. And, and that's no shade, that's no tea, okay? That's literally how many people have to live. I can't live on my own, I can't afford to. So I have to retract or step back into something that I'm not. I have to dim my light a little bit. I don't know what you do. I don't know what your personal life is like. But if you are an older person in your 20s, 30s, 40s, or 50s, however old you are, and you're living with relatives, and you're living with people who have these expectations of you, or this mindset of who you're supposed to be, you kind of, I feel many of you molded yourself for a while to meet those expectations. Now, I'm using this arbitrary example of a curfew on someone who's a fucking adult. But and I'm telling you, I told you before, it's even deeper than that. I know it, because the hermit's here, fool's here, and the queen. Yes, it's deeper than what I'm using as an example. But just that makes no sense to me. Like, I get that some people are like that. You live under my house, you obey my rules. That's how some people operate. And you, being Taurus, being oriented towards familial things, you want to respect your parents, you want to respect the people that you know and love. I get it. So for a while, you did that shit. You respected their rules. But then at some point, you're kind of like, this is no way for me to live. It lessens my light. It dims my light. I'm not happy when I do this. I'm not happy living in these conditions. The hermit wakes you up to that. And you come out with some great epiphany, some great realization about your own identity. Some of you, I don't want to presume your beliefs, your sentiments, your convictions, okay? But some of you literally have been taught to honor someone or be grateful for the little that you had or have. But now you're coming to this conclusion, or this epiphany that, why should I be satisfied with crumbs? You know who's satisfied with crumbs? Rats, mice. I'm an ox. I'm a big old fucking ox, and I'm not satisfied with crumbs. I'm not satisfied with living in a small pond. This is not where I need to be. So you expand. So you glow up. Spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, all the ways. Do it. Do it. Because here you go again. The Emperor. Now. Oh, hi. Hello. Oh, okay. This could be someone else. Hold on. Taurus. This could be someone else. Major Arcana for Aries. And you featured a little bit like in their reading. So if you're connecting with an Aries, maybe watch their reading, but theirs was kind of like not positive, if I'm honest. It was a little negative. But I feel in some of your cases, you are turning into this, and this is good because the corners, they kind of talk in my readings. When I do my readings like this, sometimes the corners talk. And so you've got this Mother of Wands fire energy across from this Aries energy, fire energy. So on all sides, basically, from all angles, you are poised, prepping to become the Emperor and or the Mother of Wands. If you become the Emperor, what do you become? A mighty tree. Look at that. Now again, this is over time, right? Because trees don't sprout up to this height, to this mighty strength overnight. This is years. It takes years to do this, right? So for years, you've been developing towards this pathway, towards this transformation, okay? In terms of tarot and prediction, not predictions, excuse me, interpretations, thank you. The Emperor is self-made. The Emperor is kind of demonstrative, can be controlling, but I don't think you would approach it this way. I think you're looking for personal sovereignty, Taurus. I really think so. Even if you've got other people who rely on you, who depend on you, other people that you're thinking about in this scenario, I think the primary focus or the nucleus of the entire thing is your own personal sovereignty. To not be so persuaded or convinced or indoctrinated, interesting word, indoctrinated, into any other person's way of thinking, operation, always putting your concerns to the forefront. Always making the central focus what speaks to my integrity, what speaks to my values, what speaks to my goals, what speaks to whatever. The Emperor energy is always looking at that, always considering that. Yeah? So if you have children, going back to that Mother of Wands and being tightly coiled around those eggs, or you have something of protection, it could be your money, whatever it is, or your other things that you value, right? Whatever it is, even if you're considering something external, the initial framework has to be around you. That is what the Emperor does. Considering what I aim to accomplish, what do I need to do? Right? And I mean, look at it. It's one tree all by itself. Very unusual, right? We usually see trees grouped together in a forest or a wood-like situation. So this is a standalone energy. This is something that you have to declare and decide for yourself and maintain for yourself. See, I almost called you Aries. So for some of you, it is a connection with an Aries. If this is an external person, everything that I described is about that person, and you might seek some type of partnership with them, whether they're an Aries or not. They could be a Capricorn, it doesn't matter. They could be, a Pisces, whatever. But if this is someone external, all those things that I said, that describes them, right? And you might slowly be making your way towards them. I don't think that this person connects with the Four of Cups. They might be aware of your situations. Like if this is like a boss or a potential boss, because, Emperor energy does tend to be in a position of leadership, right? So you might go to this person and, you're trying to make your way into working underneath them or working for them or whatever. And you might tell them about your Four of Cups situation. Like that could be the connection, is like this person learns about it through you. And this person would observe that if this is an external person, they too would know that was bullshit. You didn't need that. You don't deserve that, Taurus. The Emperor, I think, is a good judge of character. I think this Emperor person, if it's not you, would be somebody who is both strong and decisive and, really accomplished, but also somehow flexible. Or flexible and they're able to receive. And that's not a normal way to describe the Emperor, but what we see here is a tree, right? And a tree is constantly receiving, constantly taking in something, which again, the Emperor is not known for. Aries energy, Mars energy, that's more expressive. It's more giving out, right? It's more, what is this called? I can't even think of the word for it. It's not expressing. I can't think of the word, but you get it. Trees, underneath the surface, through their roots, through the leaves and the branches on them, take in nutrients. You see what I mean? So this person, tough on the outside, possibly a softie or someone who is very understanding of your plight. Again, if it's an outside person. Now, your outcome, Taurus, kind of what we've been talking about the whole time. The Tower, secondary major for Aries. So that's, okay, there you go. For those where you had and I don't know what the connection would be because their reading was a little bit different. But your major and your primary and secondary came up in their reading, and now their primary and their secondary are coming through in your reading. So secondary major for Aries, sometimes also associated with Scorpio because this is associated with Mars. So take your pick. You could be dealing with any of those signs or none at all. So shakeups. I mean, look at what happens. Now, you might be saying, well, we just talked about the tree and those trees. And I'm not saying, I don't think that this Tower moment is happening to your Emperor or your Emperor energy. I think that these are totally different trees. As an outcome, what you're doing or what's happening to you now or the decisions that you're making and the people that you're, some of you are like, that's a harsh word. Some of you are executing people from your life. This is the word they want me to use, or excommunicating people. Maybe that's a better word. But getting rid of people. Or what you're doing is going to really, 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 really upset a lot of relationships. Or if not a lot of relationships, let me take that back. Particular relationships. Strong relationships that used to be on a firm foundation, but that foundation is now crumbling, yeah? So some of you guys are having severe fallouts with friends and family. Some of you are having severe fallouts with partners, okay? Business and romantic alike. And it's an upheaval. But considering everything that we talked about today here, Taurus, for you, it might not feel great. You know, you might not go immediately from the pond to the ocean. You might go to the pond to a fishbowl, right? And you're like, that's a downgrade, Jay. And I'm like, yes, I get it. But, and that's your Tower moment, right? You go from the pond to a little fishbowl or a little fish tank, right? That's not the ocean. I want to go to the ocean. That's okay. Eventually, I feel the ocean will come. Whatever that is, an opportunity, a place to live, a relationship, whatever. You might have to backtrack before you can go forward. And that, I think, ties to your Hermit energy and your Wheel of Fortune energy. Because, again, the corners talk to each other sometimes in my readings. And, again, Wheel of Fortune can talk about divine timing. And the Hermit tucked into a tiny space inside that little shell, yeah? So don't fear the Tower as your outcome. It has to happen. You have to rumble up or reestablish certain foundations in order to make new ones. Literally, if you were to bulldoze a house and you didn't do anything to the foundation and you put another house on top of that, that new house that you're going to build on the old foundation is going to be crappy. Right? Your overall energy, Taurus, is the Four of Swords. So, definitely over the past few weeks, maybe even a few months, you've been in this rest and I wouldn't even say relaxation. You've been in this rest and recuperation period. I get with that lamb having the orb or the little tiny sun on its forehead. I think that this has been an awakening for some of you. Not all, but some of you have had like a major awakening in this period of reflection and recuperation that you've had. You know, you've asked for things to change in your Four of Cups situation and relationships, and they never changed. And you were, you kept going back inward to yourself, figuring it out, trying to avoid further upset, right? You might, I shouldn't even say many, a good portion of you, I'll say, like 30% maybe, might still be in this Four of Swords energy, and hopefully this reading has inspired you or given you the confidence to step forward in these new ways that you have been pondering, because that's what happens with the Four of Swords. You ponder, you reflect, you consider and reconsider. And like I said, way back with the Wheel of Fortune, some of you have reconsidered and played the same hand, the same move over and over again, trying or hoping that eventually things would break your way. And it's showing to you, I think many of you, it's showing to you that you can't continue the same moves. You've got to do something completely different, completely radical, and interested in the self, protecting of the self and the things that you care about and the people that you care about in order to make this exit, in order to get onto this new path, okay? Taurus, that's your reading for June. If you liked it, the like button is down below. Go ahead and hit that for me. If you want to leave a comment, let me know how this resonated in your life. You guys know I like comments, and I love interacting with you guys when I can. You can also share the video, let other people know you like watching my stuff. And if you have not subscribed, my friend, please consider subscribing here. The crew around here continues to grow, meeting new clients, talking with people offline, and it's been really fun for me. I love doing this work, and I see myself not stopping anytime soon. So if you want to be a part of this journey, go ahead and subscribe. That would be super cool. Okay. Taurus, if you want a personal reading, info is down in the description box. Also, the link to Instagram is down there if you want to follow me. And yeah, I will be back very soon, friends, with your mid-June readings, and I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.